17th, 2022 regular meeting of the Board of School Trustees be approved as presented. Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Sorry, was that George?
Yep. I'll second it.
Second by Chris. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. It is recommended that the minutes of the October 17th, 2022 regular board meeting be approved as presented. Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Motion by Melissa, a second.
I'll second.
Second by Chris. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And there are no statements from the public, so we'll go to the superintendent's report.
Thank you. I have asked the high school principal, Mr. Jim Bush, and his team, if they would present an update as to where we are with our CTE programming at the high school and middle school. So with that said, Mr. Bush,
We can do that.
and I will turn it over to you.
All right.
And this is David.
She's gonna stay right there.
Okay.
And Mr. French is gonna chip in from back there anytime he wants, so. How many times have you heard that Mr. Schneider, how many times have you ever heard that we were actually excited about something that was sent down from the state?
Not very often.
Not very often, but this is truly the case. Okay, in this situation, a couple of good things that we feel like, always when they send you money, that's good. Okay, but we feel like the money is being spent wisely this time, so there's some grants. And then also, the legislation and some things that they're doing with graduation pathways are a good thing. Okay, so we really are excited about this. So if you want to watch the screen there at the same time while I'm talking, that's perfectly fine. So I'm a visual learner, so I like to have something to look at while I'm talking at the same time. So as far as the graduation pathways are concerned, there's really two benefits coming from these graduation pathways. One, prepare students for a career after high school. And I think that word career is obviously very, very important. Okay, it's not just for your college anymore. Okay, we understand that there's a need out there for more than just four-year college. So we've got a career, and then we have additional ways for students to earn diplomas. And again, we know and understand that not everybody is math and science. Okay, that again, we've got a lot of kids out there, looking for other ways. So these pathways that the state has given to us, all right, are good things. Monica, let's pass these out right now. Okay, Monica's got a handout for you. Mrs. Damon's got a handout, all right, about the graduation pathways. And for anybody in the audience, if you'd like one, she's got some extras as well too. Okay, showing exactly some of the changes that have gone through. You've got 4 pages there. We're just going to talk about page 1, and then page 2, page 3, and page 4 are just more detail about page 1. Okay, so as far as the high school diploma, we know that you need to meet the credits and the curricular requirements. As far as learning and demonstrate employability skills, we're really looking at the third bullet point over there, and that's the work-based learning experience. Now we've got the other two, project-based and service-based, okay, but the work-based is the one that we really are focusing on at this point in time, talking about students getting out, doing internships, and working with community members. Okay, so that's the pathway that we've talked about, and again, it fills it out in more detail, but we don't want to be here for an hour talking about concentrator 1, concentrator 2, capstones, and all those other things. So if you want to make an appointment, come in and meet with Mrs. Campbell, myself, Mr. Showman, come on in, we'll fill you on in, about what's going on there. But post-secondary, ready competencies, that's what we usually think of, okay? We've got the honors diploma, ACT benchmarks, SAT benchmarks, ASVAB benchmarks, okay? They're having fun in there, aren't they? I-STEP testing is gone, okay? There is no more I-STEP testing, and it has been replaced with these 3 tests, okay? ACT test, SAT test, and the ASVAB testing. So if you don't make the score or the benchmark on one of those three, then we've got these pathways for students to get, again, with concentrator one, maybe it might be engineering, it might be plumbing, it might be electricity, it might be welding. Okay, so these are going to be different pathways that we've got in order to get students a diploma, get them out and get them a job where they're going to be making good money, they're going to have a career and an opportunity, you know, to succeed and not just, you know, work at a job that's really not going to take them much anymore. Okay? Mr. Schroman, next slide, sir, please. Okay. The grant that we're talking about, again, a lot of money coming down from the state. The SIEC, Southern Indiana Education Career Center, is located in Jasper. All right, Judy Buchert is the person in charge of that. We've been part of the SIEC for years and years. She is helping us with that. All right, so we've gone up there for trainings. We're a part, our school corporation. This is a K through 12 initiative. All right, so it includes all 4 schools, elementary, middle school, and high school. But we're part of the SIEC. Bar Reeve, Vincent, North Spencer, Washington, Mount Vernon, Eastern Green are all part of this. And so the high school, we went up a couple days, met with Judy. She talked us through this 3E grant and, you know, how exactly that works, talking about pathways, that type of thing. Middle school went up, and then the elementary schools went up. So everybody's gone through and benefited from this and the trainings that we're able to, you know, have with that. CTE coordinator, okay? That's why Mrs. Daming, that's why Monica passed out these papers, all right? There was a grant for a CTE coordinator. It's a 2-year grant. The application was sitting on my desk, and I don't know what I was thinking, but I asked Monica if she was interested in the job. Okay, kind of like cutting off your right arm, okay, but nonetheless, she looked at it and it was a perfect fit. So we were very glad to be able to hire her into this position. She has been working, her brain's been going 100 miles an hour, okay, doing research, calling other schools, taking the time, her having the time to do things that we as administrators would like to do, but really don't have the time to do because of our job that we have, you know, with everything else that's going on. So her being able to do these things, what is she doing? Like I said, she's researching, she's seeing what other schools are doing, she's seeing, you know, what's coming down from the state, what pathways will work. She's been working with Mrs. Campbell, Mr. Schroman, myself, working on the schedule for next year. We will make that presentation to Mr. Schneider about what classes we think will work. Okay? Now, we'll get into this a little bit more, but sticking with Monica, you know, she's talked to community members, working with businesses, that type of thing, so that we can coordinate these internships. Okay? So that's exactly what she is. She is the coordinator in between the school and the community. Questions so far? Kind of rambling here.
Is trucking anywhere in the forefront of this?
Has not been mentioned, but that is something that we have in our community and something that, you know, can be put on the table. Absolutely.
There is a logistics pathway, which, obviously,
Yes.
Meyer Distributing, all the places around here. And there is a logistics pathway that's connected to the business travel.
Okay.
So, part of the grant, okay, that we were looking at that came through Judy Buchert and the SIEC, she said, tell us what you'd like to do. Something new. Okay, so something new. What do we not have here that maybe we would like to have? We surveyed the kids. We talked to some other schools, some communities. We saw what other people had. And Mr. Schroman we all put together a grant for $125,000 asking for a telecommunications room. a radio and TV broadcasting room, and we got the grant.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
exciting.
cool.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that is. That's really, really cool. And I actually did radio and TV in high school, so this is kind of near and dear to my heart too, as far as this is concerned. So I'm really excited about this. This is a cool thing. So, Mr. Sherman, you want to show them a little bit about what we've got coming up here with the room and everything?
Sure. So, as Mr. Bush said, they asked us to come up with a pathway that we didn't have, and we thought, well, what's one of the most expensive pathways to implement that was of high interest to our students? And of course, they were really excited about this radio and broadcasting idea. So we worked with the company that did our remodel in the auditorium, Concept Sound and Lighting out of Evansville. They've been great to work with. They've been really good to our corporation, and they have put in just top-notch stuff. As a former music person, I can attest to that. We have probably the best auditorium in the southern part of Indiana. And so that's who I went to when I started looking at kind of the technical aspect. And so we want to show you what this room is going to look like. So that's the control room. And then into the broadcast studio. See the green screen there on the left, broadcast desk, and then an interview corner. So that will be on our campus next year.
Where is this going to be? Like what it's going to occupy?
So if you guys, the room across from where Mr. Scales currently is located, where Mr. Hagan is currently at, we had to look at air handlers on the roof and things like that. So we looked at several different locations and kind of identified that one as the most suitable place for it to be. But really, like Mr. Bush said, it is super exciting. Our kids are excited. And I don't know if you want to talk about kind of some of the benefits, or you want, I can talk about that. But we're going to partner with our construction guys. Mr. Ship is checking on some logistics in terms. You saw that wall with the glass in there that separates that. And so we added into this grant some construction money because we know that needs to be completed. And so that's a part of it. But under the leadership of Mr. Daming, Mr. Hurley, we want the students to kind of create the broadcast desk and build that from scratch. We want our broadcasting logo to be maybe fabricated out of metal, which we're hoping that our welding kids can tackle that. So it's all hands on deck, and it's going to be put together by students, for students. It's just such a super exciting time.
Putting everybody, just anything that we can do here in-house, we want to do. And again, putting those kids to work and building that wall, putting that up, and if it will work, then we're going to do as much as we can. So again, the broadcasting was part of it. It ranked fairly high on the survey, and so hopefully we'll have enough kids. Again, we're going to do this 2 periods a day. How many periods what does that look like? I'm not real sure right now. Again, going to have to dig into the pocketbook a little bit. If we have to hire, a teacher for maybe 2nd period, 3rd period, and be here during crunch time, then they can go out and do interviews, that type of thing. Have the kids at night, doing the ball games, maybe doing some broadcasting, as far as that's concerned as well too. So again, a lot of opportunity here for some really good things. I think some of you have seen the Rebel Report, the 4 students that are doing that now. Why couldn't we do that this year? And so we've got 2 students who are currently did the Rebel Report last year. They're going into broadcasting this year at college as freshmen in college. So I think it's something that will maybe get some teeth and get stuff. And again, what we talked about here in a lot of meetings, we want to be able to promote Saskatchewan schools. So being able to put together infomercials, that type of thing, maybe have a company come to us and say, hey, you know, I wanna do some advertising for their trucking company or whatever, you know, and we can put something together for you as far as that's concerned too. So really excited about that part of it and something new. But it's not just about new stuff. Again, if you look up there, some things that, you know, we're gonna try and expand on, okay? So medical was number one. So again, Monica, Mrs. Damien has talked to a community member about maybe doing something with Miller's Mary Manor and that type of thing, working towards getting our kids moving towards CNA. Lady come in and maybe do first period, that type of thing. Firefighting, Scott's come up, Mr. Middleton, Scott Middleton's come in and talked to us about firefighting and what we can do. And you have two things, you have certification and license, okay? So, you know, we're looking at how we can do both of those at once. Criminal justice was on the survey, as well as something that kids are interested in. You know, sending kids to VU, you know, for criminal justice, they have a very good DNR program there. So again, you know, whether we partner with Ivy Tech, whether we partner with VUJC, whether we partner, you know, just with Vincennes in general, but again, some of these schools where we can get kids dual credit, get them licensed, get them certified, go out of here, start making money. We're really looking forward to that. Things that we can expand on, the ag program, you know, taking the ag program that we have and expanding on that into precision ag. Again, Mr. Damien in some construction, business classes with Mrs. Dom, Mr. Hurley, you know, and you know, taking the welding to the next level. So again, a lot of moving pieces. This is not anywhere close to being set, okay? But this is our vision. This is where we want to go. This is what we want to do, and it's pretty exciting. It's a lot of work, okay, but this is good work. This is good stuff. Questions?
So the staff, what's the staff think about this?
We've taken this to them a couple times, and you know, I think, you know, the question, number one question is, how does this affect me? Okay, you know, so you know, CTE, yeah, it's going to affect them. Math and English, not so much. It's going to affect the scheduling. You know, if you have a lot of singletons, then again, it might affect the scheduling. So Mrs. Campbell's going, okay, how are we going to make this work? Mr. Hurley, what do you think?
Well, again, it's how do we end up doing the staffing with us and answering your question there, Ms. Middleton, about, you know, and that's been the thing, is how does that staffing look, how is it rearranged, what courses are being offered, and you know, what pathways we actually end up implementing. There's just to make everybody aware that I talked to you about, there's different ways to get the same content with different titles. So you can have, like, instance welding, that can be under welding, it can be under agriculture heading, or as an industrial maintenance. So depending on what we have, you know, licensing for in existence. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. Just what does this end up looking like, and what's that time frame, and how is the schedule come out? That's been the big questions there.
But I think for the most part, those faculty, you know, the teachers are excited about this because they know it's something that our kids need. You know, that they know it's going to be beneficial for our students, and so I think for the most part, it's been positive. Yes,
And the state too has realized that school corporations can't hire full-time employees to do some of this stuff. I mean, we can't ask you to add 8 new full-time employees next year. So they've made credentialing really nice and really user-friendly, and so we can take somebody who is a professional in their field and get them credentialed as a teacher through an adjunct license. So in other words, if you know, a law enforcement officer wants to come and teach our criminal justice course for one or two periods, we can look at paying them per period because they've got a full-time job already. Or, you know, a firefighter who's in charge of, you know, their township has got the years of experience, the state can give them an educator license to teach those courses. So they've made it much more equitable for corporations to be able to provide these courses at really a fantastic deal in terms of what does it actually cost corporations. So I'm excited about that flexibility. That's something that the state's done well. I thought, realizing that we especially rural corporations, we can't hire all these people, but we've got enough folks in our community that are experts in their field.
Oh, yeah.
And so, that's going to be wonderful for us.
And again, this is a K through 12 initiative. I'm just talking about high school only. Mr. French has got some things that, he and Abby are working on. Again, career exploration, down at the elementary level. Again, those are things that, Monica's working on, and getting more people in, and talking to kids at an earlier age about what they, maybe they want to do, filling out those interests and that kind of thing. Mr. French and, possibly some classes, moving down to the middle school level and getting them prepared for high school classes whenever they're ready. So we're trying, guys. We're working on it. It's exciting.
So local businesses are being contacted too, and are they being proactive about this as well?
I have a meeting with economic development this week actually to kind of just touch base and see who they advise I start with. I've been doing a lot of research so far, but I'm starting that process this
Great.
week.
Thank you.
And I do have actually some career fairs that are already scheduled with people from the community coming in to speak to kids at the middle school too.
Okay, wonderful.
The cool thing about that, with the connections that Monica is building and the relationship she's building with local businesses, small business owners, whether that be in our catchment area or across the river or close, that when we have the opportunity to give kids internships, that they're meaningful internships in a career field that they really want to do. And so, what a benefit that is, not only for that company, but obviously for our students to have that hands-on experience already as a high school student. Quite honestly, as a small business owner, if you have an intern from our high school that's working with you for a year or two, what a wonderful job interview that's been for the last year and a half. And we talk about as a corporation, creating an environment where we get our kids to stay home, to invest in their community. And I think this is just a fantastic opportunity for us in that area.
Well, with what's being built across the street right there. That's why construction is up there. Okay, that'd be a good internship. They don't have to go very far for that. So, hopefully we'll see more of that, going up and can really work that. So, again, as far as the schedule is concerned, Mr. Damien right now, if we add construction, a couple classes of construction to him, then that takes away from PE. So then how do we fix the PE? So one moving piece, robbing Peter to pay Paul, that type of thing, so we're working it. So we've got to get this stuff done. Mrs. Campbell starts scheduling by, February 1 is when she starts that. So seems like that's a long way off, but it's really not. So that's where we are.
Thank you, Mr. Bush.
Thanks,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman. This is a really outstanding opportunity that's been presented to us. I do tip my cap. We sometimes I've been known to make fun of Indianapolis, but they got this right. So we're going to take full advantage of it. You talked about these community partnerships. I think those are only going to strengthen and increase as we move forward. And again, understand this is brand new. So is it going to be perfect in year one? Absolutely not. But we've got to start somewhere. We've got to take that first step. I think we've got some outstanding leadership here. We've got a great vision. Now it's going to be putting in the work to get it in place, ironing out some questions. There's going to be bumps in the road, I can promise you. With anything new there is. But this is great, and I'm excited because it's good for kids. It's good for kids. So instead of going to school to pass that stupid test, they're actually going to be going to school for something that excites them, something they want to be part of. They want to be part of radio, TV broadcast, they're not going to have an opportunity. They want to be a truck driver, they may have that opportunity. They want to be in construction, they have that opportunity. A nurse, a doctor, they're going to have those opportunities. So super excited about it. I appreciate all the work that's going on, and as Mr. Bush correctly said, this is a K-12. So our elementaries, middle school, high school, everyone's working on this. So appreciate the update tonight, and I'm certain we're going to have some more before this thing gets rolled out. But I thought that was something that the board and the community need to hear about, because this is some exciting stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you guys very much.
Mr. Schneider, has the corporation reached out to surrounding corporations to see what their intent or plans are? And is there conversations among the corporations so that there's not competition in the same type of categories, or where fluctuation actually becomes more infighting for our neighboring corporations that are our allies, not our enemies?
Right. We haven't had those discussions yet, Matt, to be official discussions, but Mr. Sherry, Mr. Shoto, we had Mrs. Bishop, Superintendent at Perry Central, present last Friday. So yes, I think that is just, I mean, Mr. Sherry and I have had this conversation. We feel there's a lot of potential, and yes, we don't want to duplicate.
Right.
I mean, if our kids can go to the next district over and they have a program that we don't, what a great opportunity for them. Or if their kids want to come to South Spencer because we've got radio, TV, we got this $125,000 grant, which is amazing, state-of-the-art equipment, make that available to them. And I think we can do that. I mean, I think the relationships are there that we will be willing to share that.
The type of grant that it is, are there any strings attached, or what is the state's barometer on this being something that's recurring or something that helps fund future years? Has there been any discussion from that?
There are ongoing discussions to increase the CTE grant. Matter of fact, I think we're signed up for another year, or there's a possibility of another year in advance. So I believe because this is coming from Indianapolis,
Right.
I think there's gonna be dollars associated with it. I think they're supportive of it, so I think they're gonna make those dollars available. And if not, it's like anything else, then we'll have to make those decisions as to how we best utilize our resources. But this is an amazing opportunity, and it's something I think is gonna be very exciting. I think the kids are gonna get excited about it once they start getting their hands in it and get involved. I think our community is gonna get excited about it when they start seeing some of the opportunities. You know, a lot of you guys, you work in local business, you know how hard it is to find good help, right? So during these internships, during these opportunities, our students are gonna be developing strong, what they call soft skills. What's that? That's showing up to work every day, on time, ready to work, in a condition to work. Things that we hear from our employees that, man, it's hard to find. So our kids are gonna be learning those skills by actually doing hands-on activities. So again, super excited, looking forward to what that future brings. It's good for kids, that's why it's good. It's good for kids.
Can
Kathy?
I ask two questions? The first, you said that I-STEP, I just knew you were talking about high school, but I-STEP, is it going away for all grades or just high school?
It's just high school.
Just high school, so there will still be that kind of
Yes.
grade school testing. I just didn't want to put it out there and have people go, but you wrote
Yes.
that. By the way, what's the grant called?
The 3E? 3E?
The 3E, it's a grant. It was a grant that the Southern Indiana Education Center applied for and was awarded.
Thanks.
Judy Buchert at the SIC would be a wonderful person to talk to, Kathy.
Yeah, I will give her a call.
Okay, all right. Okay. So we're super excited about that. Also, I wanted to, with Thanksgiving in the next week, what a great time for family, and to say thank you for, you know, life is tough, but we all have so much to be thankful for. One thing we're really thankful for is our food pantries at all 4 of our schools. There are local groups, the Bread of Life Ministry, local churches, local community members that support this program. And what is that program, you ask? What is a food pantry? It's where students and families that struggle with food security, knowing they're gonna have enough money to buy groceries for the week, we provide them canned goods, vegetables. We've even last year was fortunate enough to secure a grant where we have a freezer and a refrigerator. And through donations, we can purchase dairy products, milk, cheese, ground beef. So it's not just raviolis and green beans and peas and those types of things. Kids actually, and families actually have access to nutritional food. Just to let you know, we service about 79 families in the South Spencer School Corporation. 79 families. That number's always in flux because, again, we make this available to anyone that needs help. Amy Chapman, the people that help run the food pantry, just do a great job. That food is made available to all 4 schools, like I said, and so backpacks are sent home, food packs, whatever you want to call them, each week. It truly is an amazing thing. And grants, you know, we do secure grants to help secure this, but we also benefit from a very giving and very supportive community. Like I said, our local churches, individuals that donate money to the food pantry so we can go out and purchase these food items. So it's Thanksgiving, and I want to give a shout out and a great big thank you to all the people that make our food pantries what they are. And for some families, they're literally a lifesaver. So,
How are the supplies at the pantries? Are they, with the holidays coming up, is it replenishing rather quickly? Do they need?
right now, we're in good shape.
Okay.
They have plenty of food. I mean, it's an ongoing thing, right? I mean, but right now, we've got grant money, we've got food, we've got donations, so that we're good moving forward.
Okay. All right, then moving on to consent items. Number 1, approve the payroll claim dockets and the accounts payable claims numbered 1107 to 1251. Number 2, approve the treasurer's financial report. Number 3, accept the resignations of the following. Approve to post the positions and grant permission to hire. Vicki Atkinson, Luce Elementary Daycare Aide, effective October 25th, 2022. Rebecca Harmon, Rockport Elementary Teacher's Aide, effective November 4th, 2022. Christopher Todd, South Spencer Middle School, South Spencer High School band teacher, effective November 1, 2022. And Lisa Hafner, Rockport Elementary Teacher's Aide, effective November 18th, 2022. And then number 4, approve the FMLA for the following. Kristen Brawl, intermittent FMLA from 10/10/22 to 11/9/2022. Can I get a motion to accept the consent items?
A motion.
Motion by Melissa, a second.
I'll second.
Second by George. Any discussion?
I do have a little bit of discussion with the resignation list every board meeting. I had mentioned something about doing some type of an exit interview or evaluation of people as they leave the corporation. Has the board thought about implementing something like that? I hate to see turnover. As we just talked about in the previous discussion, retention is important. And sometimes it would be nice to know, or the corporation to know, what the purpose or reasoning for leaving. Just a thought.
Matt, I think that'd be something, I think that'd be worthwhile. I mean, a lot of times we know, I mean, the individuals will tell us, hey, I have an opportunity to go here, I need to do this. But it probably would be good for us to gather that data, put together a report. So I'll talk with Angie first thing tomorrow about getting some kind of reporting status available for exit interviews. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor to accept the consent items?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Consideration of administrative recommendations. And number 1, Mr. Schneider.
Thank you. Item number 1 is to conduct a public hearing on our student technology acceptable use and safety policy. This is a requirement of the state that each year we have a public hearing regarding our policy. Probably not a bad idea. Technology changes at a rapid pace. So we actually have a couple copies of our policy at the table tonight if you would like to review it. It is the Neola policy. It is a pretty typical technology and acceptable use policy. But this time, I will open the public hearing, and if you have any comments or questions regarding our student technology acceptable use and safety policy, you are now welcome to ask those.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
before we move on that one, do we know if the posting requirements for a public hearing were included in tonight's meeting to give notice for a change to a policy like that?
Yes, because this, I think all this requires is that the board to hold a public hearing.
Okay.
So it was part of the agenda that was
Okay.
advertised. Yes?
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you.
It was also posted on the website on October 21st.
Thank you, Mr. Schiff. Is there any comment or questions on the policy itself? Seeing and hearing none, I will now close the public hearing. All right. Item number 2?
Item number 2.
Okay.
Actually, do we
We
need to
need
go
to
back,
vote on
I
that?
need to make a, do we need to make a motion for it?
Not for a public hearing, because you're not taking any action. We're simply holding the public hearing, so the minutes will include the public hearing.
There's no changes to it either, so
There's no changes to the policy, no changes are being recommended, that is correct. Okay? All right, item number 2, consider approving the list of new volunteers for the 2022-2023 school year. In your board packet, you will find a list of new volunteers for the 2022-2023 school year. All volunteers have consented to a background check. This evening, I recommend the board approve the list as presented.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the list?
I'll make a motion.
First one motion, a second.
A second.
Second by Melissa, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm gonna abstain, I've got family members on the list.
So no opposing votes. It carries 4-0 with 1 abstaining. And then number 3.
Thank you. Consider approving change in protocol for personnel considerations. This is a proposal to change the protocol for personnel considerations. Currently, we require a motion and a second for each recommendation brought before the board. The new proposal is to announce each recommended personnel item, except 1 motion, 1 second, and 1 vote for all recommendations. Any board member shall reserve the right to ask for any recommendation be removed from the list to be voted on by itself. This will be beneficial during times when the personnel considerations have numerous positions to fill. I recommend the board approve the change in personnel considerations protocol as presented.
Can I get a motion?
A motion.
Motion by Melissa, a second.
I'll second.
You know, before we vote on it, I'm okay with that, but, I believe that we need to move the motion and the second to the end of that, how do I say that when it's
List.
done?
After the list is read.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to make changes or ask for one to be pulled out of it, there needs to be an opportunity for discussion before the motion is taken.
Before the motion is
So that way we're not having to backtrack and then take back a motion and have a second Does that
So
make sense?
ask the members if there's an item they would like to remove and put on a separate vote.
Right, I would like to just, yeah, add that as an addendum to this. I think that's save us some headaches down the road.
Agreed.
I don't know if that can be added tonight or how that works, but
They can, if Melissa wants to amend her motion to include that language.
I'm good with that.
Melissa, will you amend your motion to include that?
Oh, yes,
That we had
sorry.
that discussion
I was
before?
jotting down.
And then George would also need to,
I will second that.
okay.
Okay, so any other discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So that motion will carry 5-0. And then number 4.
Very good. Transportation Manager Shelley Meredith is recommending we declare bus number 5 as surplus and advertise it to sell. Bus 5 is a 2011 Thomas Freightliner with 70,838 miles. We are not currently using this bus and have other buses that we have as backups. So bus 5 is truly a surplus vehicle. I recommend the board declare bus 5 as surplus and authorize the administration to advertise and sell said vehicle as presented.
Okay, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
There's a motion, a second.
I'll second.
Matt seconds. Any discussion?
Yeah, I do have some discussion on this one. You know, with the economy the way it is right now and looking at buses, I tried to pull a couple of broker companies. I deal with heavy equipment, we broker selling used equipment to get an idea of what that is valued at with that few miles is significant. Is this something that we would broker to a company to sell, or is this something that we would take blind bids for, or, and if so, I think there needs to be a reserve on it to ensure that the corporation and the community is not taking a loss on a bus that doesn't cost us anything with the price of fuel the way it is.
Oh, I agree completely, and there's multiple ways you can sell surplus items. You can, do it with sealed bids, and you can set a minimal that you will accept, that you will sell a vehicle for. There's online auction sites,
Right.
Specifically for this, for surplus vehicles. That's been successful, at getting fair and
Right.
equitable prices for the vehicles.
I mean, the one, I just went to the top 3 on, you know, searching, it was somewhere between $14,000 and $19,000 in value. And I wanna make sure that we're not taking a big loss on something that, should we need a bus, when we talk about buses and bus drivers, to, take something that, take a hit on it.
Absolutely, and this is bus 5 it's a special needs bus, so it has a wheelchair lift on it, it has wheelchair seating, so I do think there's some value in it, and the fact that if we were going to trade this vehicle in, we're probably looking at $6,000, so, you know, selling it online, you're probably gonna get a better price than that.
Right.
So, as to your point.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And then we have consideration of personnel recommendations.
Thank you. It's a short list tonight. Rockport Elementary Principal, Mr. Rick Hunt, is recommending Debbie Higdon for the position of Title I Assistant effective immediately. I recommend the board approve his recommendation as presented.
Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
George, motion, a second.
I'll second.
Second by Melissa. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And then we had some informational items that were written reports to the board. So we received the technology report, the maintenance report, and the transportation report. And then are there any statements or concerns of the board?
The only statement that I have is I would like to thank the community for voting me in for another 4 years. I'm looking forward to serving South Spencer for another 4 years. I greatly appreciated your vote for everybody that voted for me.
Me too.
I have a statement. We had talked about as a board having a special meeting, and I haven't heard anything back from the board in terms of tentative dates. Do we have dates?
Well, so afterwards, I was gonna give you 2 dates, because the emails went back and forth, and then I didn't get responses from anybody, so I thought face-to-face, we could do that tonight before we leave.
Okay.
And I would like to congratulate Mr. Schweppe and Mrs. Milton on securing additional terms to the board. And also Mr. Tyler Herman, who is in the audience tonight. Want to congratulate him. He will begin his first term in January of 2023. So looking forward to working with them. Sorry that Mr. Brown is going to be leaving us, but we appreciate your service to the schools, to the community. So thank you.
It's a new time, December.
So our next regular meeting date will be on Monday, December 12th, 2022 at 6 p.m. here in the multipurpose room in high school. So time